What just appeared in the Sea of Galilee has doomsayers preparing for the apocalypse. Yes, this is the image that you may have seen by now. If not, it is some top trending news. It is from the Sea of Galilee, and the inset picture those are actually artillery shells. Now, according to Adam Eliyahu Berkowitz for Breaking Israel News, he reports that an island that has recently appeared in the middle of the Sea of Galilee, he says, is a cause of ecologic alarm, but more importantly, he says it's also a sign mentioned explicitly in the Talmud as presaging the coming of the Messiah. Okay, Berkowitz reports that, quote, since summer's beginning, the water level in the Kinneret, or the Sea of Galilee, has gone down by
Sahih Muslim, by the way, that the Euphrates River will be channeled into a different direction. So where there was water will come dry. There won't be water flowing through there. And as a result, a mountain of gold will be revealed. Rasul ﷺ mentioned gold, literally, dhahab, jabal min dhahab. So lots of gold will be revealed.
To the hadith which is in Sahih Bukhari, in which the Prophet said, sallallahu ta'ala alayhi wa sallam, that the river, Sungai river, the river Euphrates, Furat, which is in Iraq, the river Euphrates will uncover a mountain of gold. A mountain of gold from underneath the river. A mountain of gold. And people will fight over that gold. And 99 out of every 100 would be killed, indicating that this would not be conventional warfare. No. This has to be nuclear warfare for 99 out of every 100 combatants to be killed. And therefore, we would be on fairly good foundations if we were to suggest that the Malhama would be fought for the mountain of gold. Those who will fight for the mountain of gold will all be saying, I will be the one who will survive. But the Prophet said that the Muslims who are present at that time should not touch the gold. Should not touch the gold. So if we obey the Prophet ﷺ, The implication would be Muslims would not be involved in fighting in the Malhama. The Malhama will involve others who are not Muslims, or those Muslims who disobey the Prophet ﷺ. They will be part of the Malhama. So, that a mountain of gold will come out from underneath the river. Those of you who want to have tafsir, you can wait for a long time. That one day somebody will be there with a pan and they will find a nugget of gold, and that will be the sign that the mountain of gold is going to come out now from underneath the river. That's the tafsir. There are ahadith which are given in the form of mutashabihat, and they have to be subjected to ta'wil. So the flying donkey, we know the flying donkey is here. It's the modern aircraft.
Ang ako sa tubig ito, simula 10 taon yata mahigit pa, 10 taon. Ngayon ko lang na ano ang tubig na ganito kalaki bumaba.
back now with a new series, Going to Extremes, about the incredible ways people are fighting the record drought in the West. Tonight, one of this century's most ambitious projects at the largest reservoir in the nation, which looked like this in 2000. Take a look at what it looks like now.
Look at this gorgeous view, though. I'm waiting for a sunrise here so we could actually see what's going on. But there's the marina down there. This is Lake Mead. Well, part of it anyways. We are live out here. It is about 7:20 in the morning, I think. Last time I looked at my clock, it was. We are just above Hoover Dam. I'm shaking a little bit. It's 38 degrees out here. Look how bad these water levels are. This shoreline is not the shoreline I remember as a child. The shoreline I remember was all up here. All right there.
If you want to know just how bad the drought is in the Southwest, take a good look at Lake Mead. The water level on Lake Mead has dropped 130 feet since the late 1990s. What does that mean? That means the surface used to be up there at the top of what they call the bathtub ring.
Illinois.
Welcome back to CBS This Morning. Here's a first look at aerial footage of the massive Greenland ice sheet provided by NASA. It's part of a decade-long effort to track the potentially dangerous ice melt. Data released in March shows that melting has left a hole the size of Texas. I'm from Texas. That's big in the Greenland sheet. That's critical because Greenland and Antarctica together contain 99% of the world's freshwater ice. Now, in just a few minutes, we'll show you why that could pose a worldwide danger.
But first, our Earth Matters coverage turns to the fragile Rio Grande, one of the country's longest and most iconic rivers. For nearly 2,000 miles, the river winds its way from the Rockies down to the Gulf of Mexico. More than 6 million people in 3 states rely on it for drinking water and irrigation. But climate change is threatening that vital flow. We sent Michelle Miller on a 300-mile journey along the Rio Grande. She joins us now from Las Cruces, New Mexico. Michelle, good morning.
Good morning. By this time of year, water should be flowing along this part of the Rio Grande. In fact, exactly where I am standing now, but farmers who rely on it are going to have to wait at least another month. It's a side effect of a drought that has cycled on for the last 17 years, and scientists are predicting it will be even hotter and drier in the future. That means folks who rely on this river will have to adapt to what could be their new normal. For more than 130 years, this river gauge in northern New Mexico has tracked the pulse of the Rio Grande.
It's the oldest continuously operated gauge in the United States operated by the U.S. Geological Survey.
When we visited, the Rio Grande was beating along.
On the bottom, we have a trap door that goes into the stilling well.
But Mark Gunn, a hydrologist with the USGS, told us last July its flow nearly flatlined.
Since 1889, last year was the lowest discharge in the history of this gauge.
How low did it get?
It was so low that we actually had to dig out this whole entire area and dig a channel into the river to be able to get water to go to the gauge.
So it basically made your machine here malfunction.
Yes, it did.
The Colorado snowpack that melts into the Rio Grande is declining 25% in the last 50 years. And climatology professor David Gutzler says climate change is threatening to dry it up.
I foresee dry spells getting drier, droughts getting more intense, and water resources being put under more pressure.
With that in mind, cities downstream have been preparing. Albuquerque's water authority has spent $6 million incentivizing desert-friendly landscaping.
What other things do we use water for?
The city even sends every 4th grade class to the river for a lesson in water conservation.
Because there can be no life without water.
That's right.
We followed the Rio Grande 150 miles south to where it pools into the Elephant Butte Reservoir, New Mexico's largest. The shrinking reservoir can be seen from space, but up close you can see the bathtub ring left by higher water levels 25 years ago.
We're sort of a microcosm of a lot of river systems in the world.
So you're saying that the Rio Grande is the canary in the coal mine?
Sure, think of it that way. As things warm up, for a given level of precipitation, you get less water into your river and into your reservoirs.
That means less of it can be released to the 90,000 acres of farmland on the other side of this dam.
It is now April, and we have not released any water from storage. We should have been running for a month and a half by now.
A month and a half?
Yeah.
Until water is released in June, parts of the Rio Grande will look like this, dusty and dry like the desert around it. And the canals that deliver water to farms like Dixie Ranch will remain empty. So what happens upstream directly correlates with what you see here?
Absolutely. Lots of snow, we'll have years of lots of water.
Greg Davier has prepared his 310 acres of pecan trees for either scenario. He's added more groundwater wells for irrigation during drought.
So this is a volumetric soil moisture probe.
And brought technology to this century-old farm to ensure that every drop counts.
So we've developed a computer program for our farm, and when I irrigate the tree, it can then predict when it'll need to be irrigated again.
Davier doesn't deny the climate is changing. He's just not ready to panic.
Droughts come and go.
You don't sound worried.
The worry would be that there's a future that I can't plan for, and I worry that it's coming. I believe that we can plan, that we can adapt, and that we can adjust to whatever conditions come.
Everyone's hoping that this year's above average snowpack will offer some relief, but it won't mean that the drought is over. In fact, one study is predicting that by the turn of the next century, that if everything stays the same, this part of the Rio Grande's water levels will drop by 50%. Gail?
Oh boy, we don't want to think about that. Thank you very much, Michelle.